Marriage is like playing chess with your heart as the queen. Mine's been off the board for years. I'm Mark Foster, 38 years old, and I fix computers for a living. People think that makes me some kind of tech genius, but really, I just know how to spot when something's broken and needs replacing. Turns out that skill translates to more than just hardware. My wife Erica sits across from me at our kitchen table, scrolling through her phone with that practiced indifference she's perfected over the past 2 years. She's still beautiful at 35. Auburn hair pulled back in a messy bun, green scrubs that somehow make her look like she stepped off a magazine cover instead of a 12-hour nursing shift. But beauty fades when it's wrapped around something rotten. "You're staring again," she says without looking up. "Just admiring my wife." She snorts. "Right. More like plotting something in that weird brain of yours." She's not wrong. I've been plotting for months now, ever since I discovered the first crack in our suburban facade. It started small, late nights at the hospital that turned into later nights, phone calls she'd take in the other room, new lingerie that I never got to see her wear. "Sammy called," I say, changing the subject to safer ground. "Our 19-year-old daughter is a freshman at State, 3 hours away. She's coming home next weekend." Erica's face softens slightly. Sammy is the one thing we still agree on, the one part of our marriage that hasn't turned toxic. Good. I miss her. Maybe we should plan something special. Family dinner, like we used to do. I might have to work. The wall goes back up instantly. You always have to work these days. Someone has to pay for Sammy's college. I have a job too, Erica. Fixing computers isn't exactly surgeon money. There it is, the casual dismissal that's become her favorite weapon. I make decent money in IT support for the county, but it's never been enough for her. Not since she started working at Memorial Hospital and got a taste of the medical world's inflated egos and bank accounts. My phone buzzes with a text from my buddy Dave. "Poker tonight? I promise not to take all your money this time." "I'm going to Dave's," I announce, standing up. "Of course you are." Erica doesn't even look up from her phone. I grab my jacket and keys, pausing at the door. "You know, we used to actually talk to each other." "We're talking now." "No, we're performing." There's a difference. For a moment, something flickers across her face. Guilt, maybe, or regret. But it's gone so fast I might have imagined it. Dave lives in a ranch house that looks exactly like ours, except his lawn isn't perfectly manicured, and his wife Lisa actually smiles when she sees me. "Mark, thank God you're here. Maybe you can talk some sense into these idiots." Lisa gestures toward the living room where Dave and 2 other guys from our old high school crowd are setting up the poker table. What kind of sense? Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, and tell me in the comments what city you're watching from. Dave thinks he can bluff his way through life. I keep telling him that only works if you have a poker face. Dave appears in the doorway, beer in hand. My poker face is legendary. "Your poker face looks like you're constipated," Lisa shoots back, kissing his cheek before heading upstairs. "Don't lose the mortgage money." This is what marriage should look like, I think. Gentle teasing, shared laughter, actual affection. When did Erica and I stop being a team? "You look like hell," Dave observes, dealing the cards. "Trouble in paradise? When isn't there? Want to talk about it?" I consider it. Dave's been my best friend since we were 12. He knows about Erica's mood swings, her increasing coldness, the way our house has turned into a polite battlefield. But he doesn't know about my suspicions, the little clues I've been collecting like evidence. Just the usual marital bliss. "Lisa and I went through a rough patch a few years back," Dave says, arranging his cards. "Counseling helped. Erica won't go. Says there's nothing wrong that I can't fix by being less boring." Ouch. Yeah. We play for a couple hours, and I actually manage to forget about my problems for a while. But when I get home at 11:30, Erica's car isn't in the driveway. Her shift ended at 7. I sit in my car for a few minutes, staring at our dark house. The neighbors' windows glow with warm light. Families watching TV together, kids doing homework, normal people living normal lives. When did I become the guy sitting alone in his driveway, afraid to go inside his own house? My phone buzzes with a text from Erica. Staying late to help with inventory. Don't wait up. Inventory right. I've been married to a nurse for 15 years. I know hospital inventory doesn't happen at midnight on a Thursday. Inside, I pour myself a bourbon and sit at my computer. This is where I feel most comfortable, surrounded by screens and keyboards, problems that have logical solutions. I pull up our phone bill online, something I've been avoiding for weeks. There it is, dozens of calls to a number I don't recognize. Always during her shifts, always lasting 20 or 30 minutes. I run the number through a reverse lookup. Randall Dillon. Randy. I know that name. It takes me a minute to place it, then it hits me like a punch to the gut. Randy Dillon, the medical equipment rep who's been servicing Memorial Hospital's machines for the past year. Cocky guy, always wearing expensive suits, drives a BMW. Married, 2 kids. I met him at the hospital Christmas party. He flirted with Erica right in front of me. I remember thinking it was harmless. Guys like Randy flirt with everyone. Erica laughed it off, said he was just a smooth talker trying to make sales. But now, staring at page after page of phone calls, I realize how naive I've been. My wife is having an affair. The knowledge sits in my chest like a stone. Part of me wants to confront her immediately, to scream and rage and demand answers. But a bigger part, the part that fixes broken things for a living, wants to understand the full scope of the problem before I start taking anything apart. I pour another bourbon and start making a list. The next morning, Erica comes down to breakfast looking perfectly composed. Her hair is styled, her makeup flawless, her scrubs crisp and clean. If she stayed late for inventory, she certainly managed to clean up nicely. "Good morning," she says, pouring coffee like nothing's wrong. "Morning. How was inventory?" "Boring. Lots of counting." She doesn't meet my eyes. "I'm working a double today, so I'll be home late again." 2 doubles in a row? That's rough. "Someone called in sick." Still not looking at me. I nod and go back to my cereal, but inside I'm cataloging every lie. The smooth way she delivers them, the casual tone, the complete lack of guilt. This isn't new behavior. She's been practicing. After she leaves, I call in sick to work. I never call in sick. In 15 years at the county, I've used maybe 10 sick days total. But today, I need to do some research. I drive to Memorial Hospital and park across the street in the coffee shop lot. From here, I can see the main entrance and the staff parking area. Erica's Honda Civic is in her usual spot. Randy's BMW is 3 spaces over. I feel like a stalker, sitting here with binoculars and a notebook, but I need to know what I'm dealing with before I make my next move. At 10:30, they come out together. Randy's hand touches the small of Erica's back as they walk toward his car. It's a casual gesture, but intimate, possessive. They drive off in his BMW. I follow them at a distance, feeling ridiculous and furious and heartbroken all at once. They go to a little cafe downtown, one of those trendy places with exposed brick and overpriced sandwiches. Through the window, I watch them hold hands across the table. My wife of 15 years is holding hands with another man. They talk and laugh for an hour. She touches his arm when she laughs, leans forward when he talks. It's the way she used to look at me back when we were dating, back when I could make her smile like that. When they return to the hospital, Randy kisses her cheek before she gets out of the car. A friendly peck, nothing that would raise eyebrows if anyone saw. But I see the way her hand lingers on his arm, the way she looks back at him as she walks away. I drive home in a daze, 15 years of marriage, and this is what it's come to. Surveillance and betrayal and lies about inventory. That evening, I'm waiting when Erica gets home at 8. "How was your double shift?" I ask. Exhausting. I barely had time for lunch. She kicks off her shoes and heads for the stairs. I'm going to take a shower. Where did you go for lunch? She freezes on the third step. What? For lunch. You said you barely had time, so I was wondering where you managed to grab something. The cafeteria. Where else? The hospital cafeteria. Yes, Mark. The hospital cafeteria, where I eat lunch every day. There's an edge to her voice now, irritation creeping in. Funny. I drove by Brick and Mortar around noon today. Thought I saw your car. The lie comes out smooth and easy. I didn't see her car. I saw her, sitting across from Randy Dillon, holding his hand like a teenager in love. But I want to see how she'll react. You're mistaken. She continues up the stairs. I was at work all day. Must have been someone else's Honda Civic then. Same color, same dent in the rear bumper from when you hit the mailbox last year. She stops walking but doesn't turn around. Are you following me? Should I be? That's not an answer. Neither is lying about where you had lunch. She spins around, and for a moment I see something raw in her face. Fear, maybe, or guilt. But it hardens quickly into anger. I don't have to account for every minute of my day to you, Mark. I'm not one of your broken computers that you can diagnose and fix. No, but you are my wife. Or at least you used to be. What's that supposed to mean? It means we used to tell each other things. We used to be honest. I am being honest. Are you? We stare at each other across the stairway, 15 years of marriage hanging in the balance. I want her to come clean, to admit what I already know, to give us a chance to work through this. But she just shakes her head. I don't know what's gotten into you lately, but I don't like it. This paranoid, suspicious thing doesn't suit you. She disappears into the bathroom, and I hear the shower start. I stand there for a long time, listening to the water run, wondering when my wife became a stranger. My phone buzzes with a text from Dave. Everything okay? You seemed off last night. I start to type, fine, but delete it. Instead, I write, can we talk? Not over the phone. Come over. Lisa's at book club. 20 minutes later, I'm sitting in Dave's kitchen, staring at a beer I don't really want. She's having an affair, I say without preamble. Dave sets down his own beer. Shit. Are you sure? Phone records. Surveillance. Lies about where she's been. I tell him about Randy Dillon, about the lunch at Brick and Mortar, about the way she touched his arm. Have you confronted her? Just now. She denied everything. What are you going to do? It's the question I've been avoiding. What do you do when your marriage implodes? When the person you trusted most in the world turns out to be a liar? I don't know. Part of me wants to fight for her, to try counseling, to see if we can work through this. And the other part? The other part wants to burn it all down. Dave nods slowly. I get it. When Lisa and I were having problems, I fantasized about just walking away, starting over somewhere else, being someone else. Did you? No. But our problems weren't this. No, I agree. They weren't. We sit in silence for a while, drinking beer and contemplating the wreckage of my marriage. Whatever you decide, Dave says finally, I've got your back. Even if I choose the burning it down option, especially then. Over the next 2 weeks, I become someone I don't recognize, a detective in my own life, collecting evidence of my wife's betrayal like it's a case I'm trying to solve. I install a GPS tracker on her car, legally since both our names are on the registration. I check our credit card statements for suspicious charges. I even befriend Ray, the security guard at Memorial Hospital, during my lunch breaks. Your wife's a real sweetheart, Ray tells me over coffee. Always friendly, always has time to chat, not like some of the doctors around here. She's great, I agree. Works so hard, sometimes I barely see her. Yeah, she's been putting in a lot of overtime lately. I see her leaving with that equipment guy pretty often. Dylan, I think his name is. They must be working on some big project together. Must be. Ray doesn't know he's just confirmed my worst suspicions. To him, it's innocent workplace cooperation. To me, it's another nail in the coffin of my marriage. The GPS tracker tells the real story. 3 times a week, Erica's car goes to the Riverside Motel on the edge of town. She stays for exactly 2 hours, then returns to the hospital. Randy's BMW is always there when she arrives, gone when she leaves. 2 hours. Enough time for lunch and whatever comes after. I drive by the motel one Thursday afternoon, fighting the urge to kick down doors and confront them. But that's not my style. I'm methodical, patient. When I make my move, I want to be sure it counts. Instead, I go home and call Sammy. "Dad! I was just thinking about you." Her voice is bright and cheerful, a reminder of what happiness sounds like. "How are things?" "Good. Looking forward to seeing you this weekend." "About that. I might bring someone." "Someone?" "His name is Jason. He's in my psychology program. I really like him, Dad." "Then I'd love to meet him. Mom said she might have to work, so it might just be you." "Of course she did." "Well, then it'll be a good chance for me to interrogate your boyfriend properly." Sammy laughs. "Be nice. I'm always nice. You're always sarcastic." "There's a difference." She's not wrong. Sarcasm has become my default defense mechanism, a way to keep the world at arm's length while I figure out how to put my life back together. That evening, Erica comes home with takeout from our favorite Thai place. "Peace offering," she says, setting the bags on the counter. "I know I've been working a lot lately." "It's fine." "No, it's not. I've been distracted, and that's not fair to you." She starts unpacking containers, not meeting my eyes. "Things should slow down soon." "When?" "Soon." That's not really an answer. She looks up, and for a moment I see the woman I married, vulnerable, uncertain, human. "I know you think something's wrong, Mark. I know you've been watching me." My heart stops. "What do you mean?" "Ray mentioned you've been coming by the hospital. Having coffee with him, asking questions." "Shit. I thought I was being subtle." "I was just being friendly." "Were you?" We stare at each other across the kitchen island, the Thai food growing cold between us. This is it. The moment where we either start being honest with each other or the whole thing falls apart completely. "Are you having an affair?" I ask quietly. The question hangs in the air like smoke. Erica's face goes through a series of expressions: surprise, guilt, anger, resignation. "No," she says finally. "I'm not having an affair." But I thought about it. It's not the answer I expected. I was prepared for lies or confessions, not this strange middle ground. "With Randy Dillon." She nods, tears starting to form in her eyes. "He's been pursuing me for months, and I've been flattered by the attention and confused, and I know that's not an excuse, but—" "Have you slept with him?" "No." "Have you kissed him?" A longer pause. "Once." "When?" "Last week, after lunch. He kissed me in the parking lot, and I didn't stop him." The truth hits me like a physical blow. Not the kiss itself, but the fact that she's still lying. I have GPS evidence of their motel visits, but she's only admitting to one kiss. "Anything else?" "We've had lunch a few times. We talk on the phone. But that's it, Mark. I swear. More lies. I want to confront her with the evidence, to throw the GPS data and phone records in her face. But something stops me. Maybe it's the tears in her eyes, or maybe it's the part of me that still loves her despite everything. "Do you want to work on this?" I ask instead. "Yes, God, yes. I've been so stupid, Mark. I don't know what I was thinking." "Counseling?" "Whatever it takes." We hold each other in the kitchen, and for a moment it feels like we might actually be okay. But even as she cries against my shoulder, I know she's still lying. The motel visits, the phone calls, the way she looked at Randy outside that cafe, none of that matches her story of one kiss and some innocent lunches. My wife isn't just having an affair. She's become someone who can lie to my face while crying crocodile tears. That night after she falls asleep, I sit in my home office and make a decision. I'm done being the understanding husband, done accepting half-truths and partial confessions. If Erica wants to play games, I'll play too, but I'm going to win. I start with Randy Dillon's social media profiles. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. People share everything online these days, and Randy is no exception. I learn that he's married to a woman named Melissa, that they have 2 teenage kids, that he coaches Little League and posts photos of family barbecues. I also learn that he was recently laid off from his previous job and is struggling to make ends meet with his current position at the medical supply company. Interesting. Next, I dig into his financial records, or at least the public portions. Property records, court filings, business licenses. Randy Dillon is not doing as well as his BMW and expensive suits suggest. He's behind on his mortgage, has 2 liens against his property, and filed for bankruptcy 3 years ago. A picture starts to emerge. A man desperately trying to maintain an image of success while his life falls apart behind the scenes. The kind of man who might see a stable, married nurse as a potential lifeline or a target. I'm still researching when my phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. We need to talk. Melissa Dillon. Randy's wife knows. I meet Melissa Dillon at a Starbucks across town, somewhere neither of our spouses would think to look for us. She's younger than I expected, maybe early 30s, with tired eyes and the kind of brittle composure that comes from holding yourself together through sheer willpower. "Thank you for coming," she says, stirring her coffee with mechanical precision. "I wasn't sure you'd want to hear what I have to say." "I'm listening." "Randy's having an affair with your wife." The blunt statement hangs between us. No preamble, no gentle lead-in, just the truth delivered like a diagnosis. "I know," I say. "Do you?" "Because I don't think you know the whole story." She reaches into her purse and pulls out a folder thick with papers, bank statements, credit card bills, printed emails, text message screenshots. "Randy lost his job 6 months ago," she continues. "The medical supply company let him go for falsifying expense reports. He's been living off credit cards and lies ever since. But he's still working. My wife sees him at the hospital. He's freelancing now, making maybe a quarter of what he used to earn. We're 3 months behind on the mortgage, and I've been working double shifts at the department store just to keep the lights on." She slides the folder across the table. "Look at page 12. I flip through bank statements and credit reports until I find it. A printed email from Randy to someone named Marcus at a life insurance company. Hypothetical question, the email reads. If someone were to disappear, not die, just vanish, how long before their spouse could claim them legally absent and collect on their life insurance? My hands start shaking. When did he send this? 2 weeks ago. Right around the time he started talking about your wife more often. What do you mean? He used to complain about work, about money, about how unfair life was. But lately, it's all been about Erica. How unhappy she is in her marriage, how she deserves better, how her husband doesn't appreciate her. I think about Erica's recent behavior, the late nights, the emotional distance, the way she's been criticizing everything I do. Has she been feeding Randy information about our marriage, painting me as a neglectful husband to justify their affair? There's more, Melissa says. Page 18. Another email, this one from Randy to Erica. The timestamp shows it was sent 3 days ago. He talked to M about the insurance matter. It turns out 7 years is the standard waiting period for presumed absence. But there are ways to expedite it if there's evidence of mental instability or suicidal thoughts. Might be worth looking into. Can't wait to see you Thursday. The coffee shop suddenly feels too small, too hot. My vision blurs around the edges. They're planning to destroy me? I don't think so. But I think they're planning to make you disappear somehow. Maybe frame you for something. Make it look like you ran away or had a breakdown. Randy's desperate, and desperate people do desperate things. I flip through more pages. Credit card statements showing charges at the Riverside Motel, phone records confirming dozens of calls between Randy and Erica, even photos that Melissa must have taken of Randy's car in various parking lots around town. Why are you showing me this? I ask. Because I want my husband back, and I want your wife to leave him alone. But mostly because I'm tired of being lied to. What do you want me to do? I want us to work together. Pool our resources, share information, make them face consequences for what they've done. What kind of consequences? Melissa's smile is sharp and cold. The kind that hurt. I look at this woman, Randy's wife, mother of his children, someone who should be my enemy in this situation. Instead, she might be my only ally. What did you have in mind? Randy's giving a presentation to the hospital board next week. Big contract renewal, something he's been working on for months. If that falls through, he loses his last source of income. And I happen to know that he's been padding his expense reports again. Old habits die hard. A few anonymous tips to the right people and his credibility is shot. That's just business. What about the personal stuff? Leave that to me. I know where all Randy's bodies are buried. The bankruptcy, the gambling debts, the time he got arrested for DUI and I had to bail him out. Your wife thinks she's trading up for a successful businessman. Wait until she finds out he's broke and desperate. We spend the next hour planning. Melissa has access to Randy's computer, his files, his personal correspondence. I have technical skills and a growing network of contacts at the hospital through my friendship with Ray the security guard. By the time we leave Starbucks, we have a strategy. One more thing, Melissa says as we walk to our cars. I'm not doing this to save my marriage. Randy and I are done. I'm doing this because I'm tired of being treated like an idiot. What happens after? After, I file for divorce and take him for everything he's worth. Which isn't much, but it's the principle that counts. I drive home feeling something I haven't felt in months. Hope. Not hope that my marriage can be saved, but hope that I'm not powerless in this situation. Erica and Randy think they're playing chess while I'm playing checkers. They're about to find out how wrong they are. That evening, Erica comes home with flowers and a bottle of wine. I thought we could have a nice dinner, she says. Talk about us, about the counseling, about how to move forward. That sounds great. We cooked together for the first time in months, working around each other in the kitchen with something approaching our old rhythm. She tells me about her day, carefully edited, I'm sure, and I tell her about mine, also edited. We're both performing normalcy, but at least we're doing it together. Over dinner, she brings up the counseling again. I called Dr. Peterson's office today. She can see us next Thursday at 6. Perfect. Mark, I want you to know how sorry I am. About Randy, about the lying, about everything. I know I've hurt you and I want to make it right. She reaches across the table and takes my hand. Her wedding ring catches the light. The same ring I put on her finger 15 years ago, when we promised to love and honor each other through everything. I love you, she says. I know I haven't been showing it lately, but I do. I love you too. And the terrible thing is, it's true. Despite everything, the lies, the affair, the insurance emails, I still love her. Maybe that makes me weak or stupid or both. But love doesn't just disappear because someone betrays you. It just gets more complicated. After dinner, we watch a movie together on the couch. Erica falls asleep with her head on my shoulder, and for a moment I can pretend we're still the couple we used to be. But then her phone buzzes with a text, and I see Randy's name on the screen. Miss you. Can't wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow is Thursday, motel day. I carefully extract myself from under Erica and carry her upstairs to bed. She murmurs something in her sleep. It might be, I love you, or it might be Randy. I can't tell which, and I'm not sure I want to know. In my office, I pull up Melissa's contact information and send her a text. Thursday afternoon. Same as always. Are you ready? Her response comes immediately. Ready. Thursday morning, Erica kisses me goodbye like nothing's wrong. She's working a regular shift today, she says, but might stay late to help with some training. She'll be home by 8. I know she'll actually be at the Riverside Motel from noon to 2, then back to the hospital for Randy's board presentation at 4. Melissa and I have been planning this day for a week. At 11:30, I'm parked across from the motel when Randy's BMW pulls into the lot. 10 minutes later, Erica's Honda arrives. I watch them embrace in the parking lot, not the tentative hug of new lovers, but the comfortable intimacy of people who've been doing this for a while. My phone buzzes with a text from Melissa. Package delivered to hospital board. Randy should be getting the call any minute now. The package contains copies of Randy's falsified expense reports, documentation of his previous termination, and a detailed breakdown of his current financial situation. Melissa assembled it like a prosecutor building a case. At 12:15, Randy comes rushing out of the motel room, phone pressed to his ear. Even from across the parking lot, I can see he's agitated. Erica follows, still adjusting her clothes. They argue in the parking lot for 5 minutes, Randy gesticulating wildly, Erica looking confused and upset. Finally, he gets in his car and speeds off. Erica stands there for a moment looking lost, then drives back toward the hospital. My phone rings. Melissa. The hospital board meeting was moved up to 2 o'clock, she says. Randy just called, panicking about some anonymous complaint that was filed against him. He has no idea it came from me. What happens now? Now we wait. And we watch them implode. I drive to the hospital and find Ray in the security office. Busy day, he says, pouring coffee from a pot that looks like it hasn't been cleaned since the Clinton administration. That equipment rep, Dylan, he's been running around like a chicken with its head cut off. Board meeting got moved up, and apparently someone's been asking questions about his credentials. Rough break. Yeah, well, funny thing about credentials. They're easy to verify these days. Amazing what people will lie about when they think nobody's checking. At 3:30, I position myself in the hospital cafeteria with a clear view of the administrative wing. At 4:15, Randy emerges from the boardroom looking like he's been hit by a truck. His expensive suit is wrinkled, his hair disheveled, his face pale with shock. Erica intercepts him near the elevators. They have what looks like an intense conversation. Randy shaking his head, Erica touching his arm, both of them looking around nervously. My phone buzzes with a text from Erica. Have to work late tonight. Big emergency. Don't wait up. I text back. Everything okay? Just work stuff, love you, more lies, but these feel different, desperate instead of casual. At 6 p.m., I'm sitting in my car outside Randy's house when his BMW pulls into the driveway. Melissa's car is already there, which means she beat him home from her shift at the department store. Through the living room window, I can see them arguing. Randy paces back and forth while Melissa sits calmly on the couch. At one point, he throws something, a book maybe, or a remote control. Melissa doesn't even flinch. My phone rings. It's done, Melissa says. I can hear Randy shouting in the background. He lost the contract. The board voted unanimously to terminate their relationship with his company, effective immediately. How's he taking it? About as well as you'd expect. He keeps saying someone sabotaged him, that it's all a conspiracy. He has no idea I'm the one who turned him in. What about Erica? What about her? He's going to blame her somehow, or lean on her for support. This might actually bring them closer together. Melissa laughs, but there's no humor in it. Mark, you still don't get it. Randy doesn't love your wife. He was using her, just like he uses everyone. Now that his meal ticket is gone, watch how fast he drops her. She's right. Over the next few days, the dynamic between Randy and Erica shifts dramatically. Their phone calls become shorter and less frequent. The GPS tracker shows only one trip to the motel, and it lasts barely an hour. Randy is pulling away, and Erica is starting to panic. She becomes clingy at home, asking about my day, suggesting activities we could do together, even bringing up the idea of a weekend getaway. It's like she's trying to rebuild our marriage as a backup plan while her affair crumbles. "I've been thinking," she says over dinner on Saturday night, "maybe we should renew our vows. For our 20th anniversary. Make it a big celebration. That's 5 years away. I know, but it gives us something to work toward. A goal. What kind of goal? Being happy again. Being us again." She reaches across the table and takes my hand, and I see something in her eyes I haven't seen in months. Fear. Not guilt or regret, but genuine fear that she's about to lose everything. "I want that too," I say, and mean it. But wanting something and being able to have it are two different things. The trust between us is broken, maybe irreparably. Every kiss feels like a lie. Every "I love you" sounds hollow. Sunday afternoon, while Erica is at the grocery store, I get a call from Melissa. "Randy's leaving town," she says without preamble. "Packing up his car right now. I think he's going to his brother's place in Phoenix." "What about his family?" "His kids? He says he'll send for us once he gets settled. We both know that's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Don't be. This is the best thing that could have happened. Now I can file for abandonment along with adultery. Makes the divorce much cleaner." "What about Erica? What about her? Her boyfriend just skipped town without saying goodbye. How do you think she's going to handle that?" I find out that evening. Erica comes home from the grocery store and immediately goes upstairs to call Randy. I can hear her voice through the bedroom door, confused at first, then hurt, then angry. "What do you mean you're leaving? What about us? What about everything we talked about?" A long pause. "No, I understand that you lost your job, but that doesn't mean—" Another pause, longer this time. "Don't you dare hang up on me." "Randy? Randy!" The sound of her phone hitting the wall carries downstairs. Then silence. I give her an hour before I go up to check on her. She's sitting on our bed, staring at her broken phone, tears streaming down her face. "Bad news?" I ask gently. She looks up at me, and for a moment I think she's going to confess everything. "Tell me about Randy, about the affair, about whatever promises he made that he's now breaking." Instead, she wipes her eyes and says, "Just work drama. One of the doctors is leaving unexpectedly." More lies. Even now, even when she's been abandoned by her lover, she can't tell me the truth. "I'm sorry," I say. "It's fine. These things happen." "Do they?" She looks at me sharply. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Nothing. Just that some things happen, and some things are choices people make." We stare at each other across our bedroom, and I realize this is it. The moment where our marriage either starts to heal or dies completely. "Mark," she says quietly, "is there something you want to ask me?" "Yes, I think. I want to ask you why you lied to me for months. I want to ask you how you could plan my disappearance with your lover. I want to ask you if you ever loved me at all, or if I was just a placeholder until something better came along. But instead, I say, no. Nothing I want to ask, because I already know all the answers." The next few weeks pass in a strange limbo. Erica throws herself into being the perfect wife, cooking elaborate dinners, suggesting date nights, even initiating intimacy for the first time in months. It's like she's trying to prove something, maybe to me, maybe to herself. But I can see the cracks in her performance. She jumps every time her phone rings, checks her email obsessively, and sometimes I catch her staring out the window with a lost expression. She's grieving Randy and trying to hide it from me. Meanwhile, Melissa keeps me updated on her divorce proceedings. Randy hasn't contacted her since he left town, which makes her lawyer's job easier. She's also been digging through his abandoned computer files and finding interesting things. "Look at this," she says, sliding a printed email across the table during one of our coffee meetings. Randy sent this to your wife 3 days before he left town. The email is short and brutal. Things are getting too complicated. Need to step back and focus on my family. This was fun, but it's time to be realistic. Don't contact me for a while. -R quote. He dumped her by email. Quote, I say. Like a coward, but that's not the interesting part. Look at the timestamp. I check the date and time. Randy sent this email on Sunday afternoon, the same day Erica came home from grocery shopping and made that desperate phone call. She was calling him after he'd already ended it, I realize. Gets better. I found draft emails he never sent. Want to see what he really thought about your wife? She hands me another printout. This one is dated 6 weeks ago, addressed to someone named Mike, with the subject line, Insurance Question Follow-Up. Mike, been thinking more about our conversation making someone disappear versus actual elimination. The disappearance route seems cleaner legally, but requires more setup. Subject would need to appear mentally unstable, maybe suicidal. Could be accomplished through systematic isolation, financial pressure, maybe some planted evidence of depression or substance abuse. The wife thinks she can handle her end, but I'm not sure she has the stomach for the long game. Might need to adjust strategy. Let me know your thoughts. My hands shake as I read it again. They were planning to drive me to suicide. Or make it look like you destroyed yourself. Either way, your wife gets the insurance money and a fresh start with Randy. But Randy was broke. Randy was broke but ambitious. Your wife has a steady job, a house, life insurance. She was his ticket to financial stability. And now? Now she's just another woman he used and discarded. But Mark, there's something else you need to see. She pulls out one more email, this one from Erica to Randy, dated just 2 days ago. I know you said not to contact you, but I need to know if we're still doing this. Mark's been acting strange, asking questions. I think he might suspect something. If we're going to move forward with the plan, it needs to be soon. I can't keep pretending much longer. Please call me. The coffee shop spins around me. Even after Randy abandoned her, even after he made it clear their affair was over, Erica was still willing to go through with their plan to destroy me. She sent this 2 days ago, I say numbly. Randy never responded, but yeah, your wife was ready to sacrifice you for a man who'd already dumped her. I drive home in a daze. Erica is in the kitchen, preparing what looks like an elaborate dinner. She's wearing the blue dress I bought her for our anniversary last year, and she's actually humming. You're home early, she says, kissing my cheek. Perfect timing. I'm making your favorite. Beef stroganoff? With those egg noodles you like, and I even got that expensive wine from the place downtown. She's trying so hard to be the loving wife that it's almost convincing. If I didn't know about Randy, about the emails, about the insurance plan, I might actually believe she's had a change of heart. What's the occasion? I ask. Do I need an occasion to cook for my husband? You haven't cooked like this in 2 years. I know. I've been taking you for granted and I'm sorry. I want to do better. We eat dinner by candlelight, and Erica is charming and attentive in a way that reminds me why I fell in love with her. She asks about my work, laughs at my jokes, even suggests we plan a vacation together. Where would you want to go? She asks. I don't know. Somewhere warm, somewhere we can relax and reconnect. That sounds perfect. After dinner, she opens another bottle of wine and curls up next to me on the couch. We watch an old movie, one of those romantic comedies from the 90s that we used to love. Erica falls asleep with her head on my shoulder just like she used to. For a moment, I can almost pretend the last 6 months never happened. That Randy Dillon doesn't exist. That I never found those emails. That my wife isn't capable of planning my destruction. But then her phone buzzes with a notification, and reality crashes back. The next morning, I make a decision. I'm done being reactive, done waiting for other people to determine my fate. It's time to take control. I call in sick to work and spend the day preparing. First, I make copies of everything. The emails Melissa found, the phone records, the GPS data, even photos I took during my surveillance. I store copies in multiple locations, a safety deposit box, a secure cloud drive, and with Dave, who doesn't ask questions but promises to keep everything safe. Next, I visit a lawyer, not for divorce proceedings, but to understand my options if Erica tries to follow through on any version of her plan with Randy. Conspiracy to commit insurance fraud is a felony, the lawyer explains. Even if no actual fraud occurred, the planning and intent are enough for criminal charges. What about the emotional distress? The betrayal? Harder to prove in court, but you'd have grounds for a fault-based divorce. With this level of documentation, you'd likely get a favorable settlement. I don't want her money. I just want her to face consequences. The lawyer nods. Then you have options. That evening, Erica comes home with takeout from our favorite Chinese restaurant. I thought we could have a quiet night in, she says. Maybe talk about that vacation. Actually, I have something I want to show you. I lead her to my home office, where I've laid out printed copies of everything. The emails, the phone records, the motel receipts, even the insurance inquiry Randy made. Erica goes very still. What is this? The truth. Finally. She picks up one of the emails, the one where Randy discusses making me disappear, and her face goes white. Mark, this isn't what it looks like. What does it look like? I don't know, but it looks like you and Randy Dillon planned to drive me to suicide so you could collect my life insurance and start a new life together. It looks like you were willing to destroy me for a man who dumped you by email. She sinks into a chair, still holding the printout. How did you get these? Does it matter? Randy said he deleted everything. He promised me. He lied to you, Erica. Just like you lied to me. We sit in silence for a long moment, the evidence of her betrayal spread across my desk like a crime scene. What happens now? She asks quietly. That depends. On what? On whether you're finally ready to tell me the truth. And for the first time in months, she does. It started as flirtation, Erica begins, her voice barely above a whisper. Randy would come to the hospital, and he'd always find reasons to talk to me. He made me feel interesting again, attractive, like I was more than just a nurse and a wife and a mother. I don't interrupt. After months of lies and half-truths, I want to hear everything. The first time we had lunch together, I told myself it was harmless, just a friendly meal with a colleague, but he kept asking me about my life, my marriage, whether I was happy, and I found myself telling him things I'd never told anyone. What kind of things? That I felt invisible at home, that we'd become roommates instead of lovers, that I wondered sometimes what my life would have been like if I'd made different choices. It hurts to hear, but it's not surprising. We had grown apart over the years, settling into comfortable routines that left little room for romance or excitement. When did it become physical? The first time we kissed was in March, in his car after lunch. I felt so guilty afterward that I almost confessed to you that night. Why didn't you? Because I didn't want it to be over. The way Randy looked at me, the way he talked about our future together, it was like being young again, like anything was possible. Our future together? Erica nods, tears streaming down her face. He said he was going to leave Melissa, that we could start over somewhere new, be the people we were meant to be. And you believed him? I wanted to believe him. So when he started talking about obstacles we'd need to overcome, I listened. Obstacles like me. He said divorce would be too expensive, too messy, that there had to be a better way. So you agreed to help him plan my suicide? No. I mean, not exactly. Randy said we needed to make you want to leave on your own. Make you think the marriage was over, that you'd be better off starting fresh somewhere else. By driving me to mental breakdown? By making you realize we weren't right for each other anymore. Randy said if you were depressed enough, isolated enough, you might just disappear. Leave town, start over. People do it all the time. And if I didn't cooperate? If I fought for our marriage instead? Erica looks away. Randy said there were other options. Like making it look like I destroyed myself. He said it would be quick. Painless. That you'd never even know what happened. The casual way she says it, like she's discussing the weather instead of my murder, is more chilling than any threat Randy could have made. And you were okay with this? I told myself it was just talk. Fantasy. That we'd never actually go through with it. But you were still planning it. Still gathering information about my habits, my mental state, my life insurance. Randy said we needed to be prepared for every possibility. Even after he dumped you, you were still willing to go through with it. Erica breaks down completely, then sobbing so hard she can barely speak. I thought if I could prove I was serious, he'd come back. I thought if I showed him I was willing to do anything. You were willing to destroy me to win back a man who'd already thrown you away. I know how it sounds. Do you? Because it sounds like you valued your affair more than my life. We sit in silence while she cries. Part of me wants to comfort her, to hold her and tell her everything will be okay. But a bigger part, the part that's been growing stronger over the past few months, feels nothing but cold fury. What happens now? She asks again. I look at the evidence spread across my desk, then at my wife of 15 years, and I realize I have a choice to make. I can turn this over to the police and watch her face criminal charges for conspiracy. I can file for divorce and take her for everything she's worth. I can expose her publicly, destroy her reputation the way she tried to destroy my life. Or I can do something else entirely. Pack a bag, I say. What? Pack a bag. You're leaving. Tonight. Mark, please, we can work through this. No, we can't. You were willing to destroy me, Erica. There's no working through that. Where am I supposed to go? I don't care. Hotel, your mother's house, Randy's place in Phoenix if you can find him. But you're not staying here. What about Sammy? What about our daughter? What about her? Were you thinking about Sammy when you were planning to make her father disappear? Were you considering how she'd feel growing up thinking her dad abandoned her or destroyed himself? Erica has no answer for that. You have 1 hour, I continue. Take whatever you need but leave your key. And Erica, if you try to contact me, if you come back here, if you do anything to involve Sammy in this mess, I'll turn everything over to the police. Do you understand? She nods mutely. I need to hear you say it. I understand. Good. Your hour starts now. I leave her in the office and go to the kitchen to pour myself a drink. My hands are shaking, but not from fear or sadness, from relief. For the first time in months, I feel like I can breathe. 45 minutes later, Erica comes downstairs with a suitcase and her purse. She's cleaned herself up, put on makeup, trying to look composed. Mark, I need you to know that I never stopped loving you. Yes, you did. You stopped loving me the moment you decided I was disposable. That's not true. Isn't it? Love doesn't plan murder, Erica. Love doesn't conspire with strangers to destroy the person it claims to care about. She opens her mouth to argue, then closes it. There's nothing left to say. I'll be in touch about the divorce, she says finally. No, you won't. My lawyer will be in touch with your lawyer. We're done talking. She leaves her wedding ring on the kitchen counter and walks out the door. I watch through the window as she drives away, her tail lights disappearing into the darkness. Then I call Dave. It's done, I say when he answers. You okay? I think so. Can you come over? I could use some company. On my way. While I wait for Dave, I gather up all the evidence from my office and put it back in its folder. I'm not sure what I'll do with it yet, whether I'll pursue criminal charges, use it in divorce proceedings, or just keep it as insurance. But for now, it's enough to know that I have it. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. For a moment, I think it might be Erica, but Then I realize it's probably Melissa. Heard through the grapevine that your wife just checked into the Riverside Motel. Thought you should know. The Riverside Motel. The same place where Erica and Randy conducted their affair. The irony is almost too perfect. I text back, "Thanks for everything. I couldn't have done this without you. We made a good team." Take care of yourself, Mark. Dave arrives with a bottle of bourbon and a pizza, and we spend the evening not talking about Erica or Randy or any of it. Instead, we watch basketball and complain about our jobs and argue about whether the Cubs will ever win another World Series. It's exactly what I need. Normal conversation with a good friend, a reminder that life exists beyond betrayal and revenge. "So what's next?" Dave asks as he's getting ready to leave. "I don't know. Divorce, obviously. Figure out how to tell Sammy. Maybe sell the house. Start over somewhere new. You could always move closer to Lisa and me. We've got a spare room if you need it." "Thanks. I might take you up on that." After Dave leaves, I walk through my empty house, seeing it with new eyes. Without Erica's presence, it feels different. Not lonely exactly, but peaceful. Like a weight has been lifted. I pour myself one last drink and sit on the back porch looking up at the stars. Tomorrow, I'll have to start dealing with the practical aspects of ending my marriage. Lawyers and paperwork and dividing up 15 years of shared possessions. But tonight, for the first time in months, I'm exactly where I want to be. Just for epilogue, 6 months later, the divorce was finalized last month. Erica didn't contest anything, couldn't really given the evidence I had against her. She got her car, her clothes, and half our savings account. I got everything else, including the house and Sammy's college fund. Sammy took the news about as well as could be expected. She was angry at first, then hurt, then angry again. But she's resilient, like her old man, and she started seeing a counselor at school to work through her feelings about her mother's betrayal. "I keep thinking I should have seen it," she told me during one of our weekly phone calls. "Like, there must have been signs that Mom was capable of something like this." "There weren't," I assured her. "Your mother was very good at hiding who she really was. Even from herself, I think." Erica moved back in with her parents after a week at the Riverside Motel. She lost her job at the hospital, not because of the affair, but because the stress of everything caused her to make several medication errors that could have hurt patients. Last I heard, she was working at a clinic across town and seeing a therapist. Randy never did send for his family. Melissa's divorce was finalized 2 weeks before mine, and she got the house, the kids, and a healthy chunk of Randy's remaining assets. She sent me a Christmas card with a photo of her and the kids looking happy and relaxed. "New beginnings," she wrote on the back. "Thanks for helping me find the courage to start over." I kept my job with the county, but I'm looking at other options. Maybe something in the private sector, maybe a complete career change. For the first time in years, I feel like I have choices. The house feels different now. Lighter, somehow. I've redecorated the bedroom, turned Erica's office into a workshop where I tinker with electronics and woodworking projects. Sammy comes home for visits and brings Jason, who turns out to be a good kid with a dry sense of humor that reminds me of myself at that age. "You seem happier, Dad," Sammy observed during her last visit. "I am happier. Even without Mom? Especially without your mother. I spent so many years trying to fix our marriage that I forgot what it felt like to not be broken." "Do you miss her?" It's a question I've asked myself a lot over the past 6 months. Do I miss Erica? Do I miss the woman I married, or just the idea of her? "I miss the person I thought she was," I told Sammy. "But that person never really existed. Your mother showed me who she really was when she planned to destroy me for another man. I'm grateful for that, in a way. It freed me to become who I really am. And who's that? Someone who doesn't settle for being treated badly. Someone who knows his own worth." Last week, I ran into Ray at the grocery store. He's retired now, spending his days fishing and spoiling his grandkids. "You look good, Mark," he said. "Heard about you and Erica." "Sorry it didn't work out." "I'm not." "No? Well, I guess you'd know better than anyone." That Dylan fellow ever turn up again? Not that I know of. Why? No reason, just curious. He left owing money to a lot of people around here. Figured someone would catch up with him eventually. I didn't ask what he meant by that. Some stories are better left unfinished. These days, I'm focused on the future instead of the past. I'm dating again. Nothing serious yet. But it's nice to remember what it feels like to have someone genuinely interested in getting to know me. I'm planning a trip to Europe this summer, something I always wanted to do but never could because Erica hated flying. Most importantly, I'm not angry anymore. The rage that sustained me through those final months of my marriage has faded, replaced by something calmer and more sustainable, self-respect. People ask me if I regret how everything played out, if I wish I'd tried harder to save my marriage. The answer is simple. You can't save something that was never real to begin with. Erica and I weren't partners. We were strangers living in the same house, going through the motions of a relationship that had died years before Randy Dillon ever walked into her life. He didn't destroy my marriage. He just exposed how hollow it had become. In a strange way, I'm grateful to both of them. Without their betrayal, I might have spent the rest of my life sleepwalking through a loveless marriage, convincing myself that good enough was actually good enough. Now I know better. Last night, I was sitting on my back porch with a beer, watching the sunset, when my phone rang. Unknown number, out-of-state area code. For a moment, I thought it might be Randy, calling to apologize or explain or ask for forgiveness. Instead, it was a wrong number. Someone looking for a pizza place that had apparently changed its number. "Sorry to bother you," the caller said. "No bother," I replied. "Happens to everyone." After I hung up, I realized that's exactly right. Wrong numbers happen to everyone. The difference is what you do when you realize you've dialed the wrong person. Some people hang up immediately and try again. Others apologize and move on. And some people, like my ex-wife, keep dialing the same wrong number over and over, convinced that eventually it will connect them to what they're looking for. I'm done dialing wrong numbers. These days, I only call people who actually want to hear from me. And you know what? The conversations are so much better, 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 much better,